The Galactic Slight. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Coalition stretched across an impossible expanse, its crystalline dome capturing the light of 3 suns. Captain Alina Reyes stood beside Ambassador Yusuf Hakim, both trying to maintain their composure despite the spectacle before them. Thousands of alien representatives filled the chamber, species from across the Milky Way, gathered in what was supposedly a forum of equals. But humans were not equals here. Not yet. Remember, Yusuf whispered, his voice barely audible over the ambient hum of the chamber's environmental systems. We represent all of Earth. No matter what they say, we stand tall. Elena nodded, her hand unconsciously checking the ceremonial sword at her hip, a traditional adornment for Earth's Space Command officers during diplomatic functions. The carefully polished steel felt reassuring against her palm. The representatives from Sol System, Earth, are recognized, announced the Chamber Herald, a tall, willowy being with skin like polished obsidian. Yusuf stepped forward, activating the holographic display they'd prepared. The history of humanity unfolded in brilliant light. The rise of civilization, the Industrial Revolution, the digital age, the environmental restoration of the 22nd century, and finally, the development of the Alcubierre drive that had allowed humanity to join the galactic community just 15 years ago. Honorable members of the coalition, Yusuf began, his voice strong despite the intimidating audience. Earth comes before you seeking full membership. In the brief time since achieving faster-than-light travel, we have established peaceful relations with 17 species, contributed medical breakthroughs that have benefited multiple worlds, and demonstrated our commitment to the Coalition's principles of cooperation and mutual advancement. The display shifted to showcase Earth's recent achievements, the neural regeneration techniques that had saved thousands of Procyon lives during their plague, the atmospheric stabilization technology that had helped preserve Ta Ceti IV's biosphere, and the cultural exchanges that had enriched understanding between species. When Yusuf finished, there was silence, followed by polite applause from some sections of the chamber. Then, from the elevated central platform, Lord Veridax of the Viridian Empire raised his hand, 6 fingers splayed in what Elena recognized as a gesture of skepticism. The Coalition acknowledges the presentation from Earth, Veridax said, his translator conveying his words in perfect English, despite the clicking, hissing nature of his actual speech. However, we find the application for full membership premature. Elena felt her stomach tighten. The Viridian Empire has guided the Coalition for 9,000 years, Veridax continued. We have watched young species rise and fall. We have nurtured those with potential and contained those who proved dangerous. Humanity's development has been rapid, dangerously so. The holographic display shifted, now showing Earth's military vessels, the modest fleet of exploration and defense ships that had been carefully positioned at the edge of Sol System. Your weapons technology is rudimentary, yet you devote significant resources to it. Your understanding of dimensional physics is superficial. Your grasp of stellar engineering is non-existent. You have achieved faster-than-light travel, yes, but through a brutish, energy-inefficient method that the Viridian Empire abandoned millennia ago. Yusuf remained diplomatic, though Elena could see the tension in his shoulders. We acknowledge that humanity has much to learn, Lord Veridax. That is precisely why we seek closer ties with the Coalition, to benefit from your wisdom and experience. Learning requires patience, Veridax replied. The Coalition hereby classifies Earth as a Category 3 developing civilization. You will be permitted controlled access to Coalition space for limited trade and cultural exchange. Your military vessels will be restricted to your home system. In 50 years, you may petition for reassessment. The pronouncement fell like a physical blow. Category 3, just one step above quarantine. The classification would severely limit Earth's growth potential, restrict access to advanced technology, and place humanity under constant surveillance. Lord Veridax, Yusuf attempted, surely our contributions thus far demonstrate. The Viridian Empire has made its assessment, Veridax interrupted. The Coalition follows our guidance in these matters, as it has for millennia. This discussion is concluded. As they walked back to their ship, Alina maintained the rigid posture drilled into her through years of Space Command training. Only when they were safely inside their vessel did she allow her composure to crack. "They treated us like children," she said, removing her ceremonial sword and placing it with deliberate care on a storage rack. Worse, like pets seeking approval from their masters. Yusuf sank into a chair, looking suddenly older. The Viridian Empire has dominated the Coalition for too long. They don't see us as equals because they don't see anyone as equals. "I noticed something," Alina said, calling up the sensor data their ship had passively collected during their visit. "Their technology. It's all based on the same principles. Different applications, but the same foundations." Yusuf raised an eyebrow. "What are you suggesting?" "They've been doing things the same way for thousands of years. No true innovation, just refinement of established technology." Alina's eyes gleamed with sudden intensity. "They just told the most adaptable species in known space that we're not good enough." A slow smile spread across Yusuf's face. "Then we show them what primitive humans can really do." The United Earth Council chamber fell silent as the recording ended. 50 of the most powerful people on the planet had just witnessed the diplomatic humiliation of humanity. Admiral Chen Wei, head of Earth Defense Command, was the first to speak. "So that's it. We're confined to our solar system like children in a playpen." President Adama Okafor of the African Union frowned. "They don't consider us a threat. They barely consider us worthy of attention. But they've given us something valuable," Alina Reyes said, standing up from her seat at the briefing table. "They've shown us their weaknesses." All eyes turned to her. "What weaknesses?" asked Dr. Sofia Rodriguez, Earth's leading physicist in dimensional mechanics. "Their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours." "Is it?" Alina clicked a button, and the screen showed images of Coalition ships and technology. "Look at their designs. Everything they build follows the same patterns, the same scientific principles. They haven't truly innovated in centuries, maybe longer. They've just been refining the same technologies." Dr. Rodriguez leaned forward, suddenly interested. "You're saying they're in a technological rut?" "Exactly," Yusuf said. "They were shocked by how quickly we developed the Alcubierre drive. Not impressed, shocked. It frightened them because we took a different path than they did." President Okafor looked thoughtful. "What are you suggesting?" "Project Thunderbolt," Alina replied. "A complete technological revolution focused on paths the Coalition, specifically the Viridian Empire, hasn't explored. And we keep it secret," Yusuf added. "Let them think we've accepted our place while we build something they can't imagine." 3 years passed. The Coalition monitoring stations at the edge of Sol system recorded normal human activity. Colony ships traveled to Mars, Venus, and the moons of Jupiter. Mining operations expanded in the asteroid belt. Everything appeared as expected for a Category 3 civilization. The monitors didn't detect the vast network of research facilities hidden inside asteroids and moons. They didn't notice the quantum-encrypted communications or the laboratories buried deep beneath the Martian surface. In one such lab, Dr. Rodriguez stared at test results on her screen. Behind her, Admiral Chen waited patiently. "It works," she said finally, turning to face him. "The phase shift technology is stable." Chen didn't smile. He rarely did, but his eyes lit up. "How does it compare to Coalition technology?" "It doesn't," Sofia replied. "That's the beauty of it. They use dimensional folding based on graviton manipulation. This is completely different. We're actually shifting matter partially out of phase with normal spacetime. Will it make our ships faster?" Sofia laughed. "Not just faster. If my calculations are correct, we can use phase shifting for propulsion, shielding, and weapons. The Coalition won't see it coming because they've never explored this direction." Chen nodded slowly. "How soon until we can install it on a test vessel?" 6 months for a working prototype. Maybe 2 years for full integration. Good. Keep it quiet. Remember our protocol. As Chen left the lab, he passed dozens of scientists working on other projects. Each team knew only their own work. No one except the Thunderbolt Council had the complete picture. It was safer that way. 5 years after the Coalition meeting, Earth launched the ESS Prometheus, officially a deep space research vessel. The Coalition monitor scanned it, noted its apparently conventional design, and logged it as harmless. They didn't detect the experimental phase shift drive hidden within its core. On the bridge, Captain Alina Reyes watched as her crew prepared for the test. She had been promoted twice since that day in the Coalition chamber, her career accelerating as she helped develop Earth's secret response. All systems nominal, Captain, reported her first officer, Commander Jackson Liu. Phase shift drive is ready. Elena took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. Either they'd make history, or they'd become a floating cloud of atoms scattered across space. Engage the phase shift drive, she ordered. The ship hummed softly. Then suddenly, there was no sensation of movement at all. On the view screen, Jupiter vanished, replaced by empty space dotted with unfamiliar stars. Status report, Elena demanded. All systems functioning normally, said Jackson, checking his readings. According to our instruments, we've traveled 12.7 light-years in 4.2 seconds. A cheer erupted on the bridge. They had done it. The first human ship to use the phase shift drive had just moved faster than any Coalition vessel ever recorded. Send the encoded message to command, Elena ordered when the celebration quieted. Thunderbolt 1, successful. 8 years after the Coalition meeting, the secret shipyards in the asteroid belt began construction on the first true warships of humanity's new fleet. Unlike the conventional vessels that patrolled Earth's solar system under Coalition observation, these ships incorporated all the breakthroughs of Project Thunderbolt. The ESS Defiance was the first Dreadnought completed, a massive vessel with sleek lines that belied its power. It carried phase shift technology, not just for propulsion but for weapons and defenses as well. 3 more followed: Resistance, Resolute, and Reckoning. To the Coalition monitoring stations, the asteroid belt appeared to be engaged in routine mining operations. They never detected the shipyards or the revolutionary vessels being constructed within them. 10 years to the day after humanity was classified as a Category 3 civilization, the Earth Defense Fleet was ready. It was time to show the galaxy what primitive humans could achieve. Humanity's answer. The diplomatic vessel from the Viridian Empire entered the Sol system precisely on schedule. 10 years had passed since Earth's classification as a Category 3 civilization, and the Coalition protocols required a formal assessment of humanity's development and adherence to restrictions. High Commander Xatrix led the delegation. As the nephew of Lord Veridax himself, he approached the mission with appropriate superiority. The assessment was a mere formality. Humans were predictable after all. They had shown appropriate deference these past 10 years, keeping their military vessels within their system boundaries and maintaining the expected development curve for a young species. Approaching Earth orbit, reported the navigator. Standard diplomatic approach vector. Excellent, Xatrix replied, his 6-fingered hand adjusting the ceremonial sash across his chitinous torso. Send the expected notifications to their planetary authorities. The bridge crew executed his commands with practiced efficiency. The Viridian Empire had been conducting these assessments for thousands of years. The process was routine. Arrive, intimidate the young species with a display of technological superiority, assess their development, then leave with appropriate condescension. As they approached Earth, something unexpected appeared on their sensors. High Commander, the sensor officer said, voice tinged with confusion, there is an unidentified vessel in high Earth orbit. Unidentified. Xatrix moved to the sensor display. That's impossible. We have signatures for all authorized human vessels. The display showed a massive ship, larger than any human vessel should be. Its design was unlike anything in their database. Send a standard identification query, Xatrix ordered. Moments later, the communications officer looked up in surprise. They're responding, sir. Audio and visual. On screen. The view screen activated, showing a human female in a dark uniform with silver insignia. Behind her was a bridge unlike any they had seen on human vessels before. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Defense Ship Defiance. Welcome to Earth Space, High Commander Xatrix. Xatrix didn't bother hiding his shock. How do you know my name? Our delegation's composition was not shared with Earth authorities. Elena smiled slightly. We have our ways, High Commander. Your ship has been tracked since it entered the Oort cloud. Impossible. Human sensor technology shouldn't be capable of such range. Captain Reyes, Xatrix recovered quickly. Your vessel does not match any registered Earth ship. Coalition protocols require all military vessels to be registered and confined to inner system operations. The Defiance is newly commissioned, Elena replied smoothly. And as for those protocols, we've decided they no longer apply. Xatrix's posture stiffened. Such defiance of Coalition authority is unacceptable. Earth's status could be downgraded to Category 4, with appropriate sanctions. Elena's expression didn't change. I believe it's time for a reassessment, High Commander. Not of Earth, but of the Coalition's understanding of humanity. The censor officer interrupted, his voice rising in alarm. High Commander, 3 more vessels approaching from the direction of Jupiter's orbital path. The view screen split to show 3 massive ships moving into formation with the Defiance. They were clearly built using the same technology, sleek, powerful, and utterly unlike the registered human fleet. May I introduce the Earth Defense Fleet? Elena said. The Resistance, Resolute, and Reckoning, joining the Defiance. We thought it appropriate for you to see them during your assessment visit. Xatrix's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation his translator didn't convey. This is a violation of Coalition law. These vessels must be decommissioned immediately. I'm afraid we can't do that, Elena replied. Earth has reconsidered its position in the galaxy. We will no longer accept Category 3 classification or the restrictions that come with it. This is insanity, Xatrix hissed. The Viridian Empire will not tolerate. The Viridian Empire, Elena interrupted, has grown complacent. You've dominated the Coalition for millennia not through true superiority, but through stagnation and intimidation. Xatrix's anger overrode his diplomatic training. You will regret this insolence. He signaled to his weapons officer. Target their flagship. A demonstration of Viridian power should remind these primitives of their place. The Viridian vessel's weapon systems activated, charging the powerful dimensional disruptors that had kept the Empire dominant for thousands of years. No Category 3 civilization could possibly withstand such firepower. Weapons locked, his officer confirmed. Fire, Xatrix commanded. Brilliant energy lanced from the Viridian vessel toward the Defiance. It should have torn through the human ship's hull like paper. Instead, the beam seemed to pass through the vessel entirely, as if it weren't there. Direct hit, the weapons officer reported. Then, confused. No impact registered. No damage detected. Impossible, Xatrix whispered. On the view screen, Captain Reyes looked unperturbed. Phase shift technology, High Commander. Your weapons can't affect us when we're partially out of phase with normal spacetime. Would you like to see what our weapons can do? Before Xatrix could respond, the Defiance fired, not at the Viridian vessel, but at an empty area of space nearby. A small projectile streaked from the human ship, then detonated. The explosion wasn't particularly impressive visually, but Xatrix's sensor officer cried out in alarm. Spatial disruption detected. The fabric of spacetime is being distorted. That, Elena explained, was a phase destabilization torpedo at minimal yield. It creates a temporary distortion in spacetime. At full power, it could tear your ship apart at the quantum level. Xatrix stared at the readings in disbelief. The weapons technology was beyond anything the Coalition possessed. Even the Viridian Empire had nothing like it. How? He demanded. How did you develop this technology without our knowledge? You called us primitive, Alina replied. You confined us to our system and dismissed our potential. So we looked in directions you never considered. We developed technology along paths your civilization abandoned or never explored. The tactical officer was frantically reporting incoming data. High Commander, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from all 4 human vessels. Their power output exceeds our largest battlecruisers. And there's something else, some kind of dimensional distortion surrounding their hulls that our sensors can't properly analyze. Xatrix realized the gravity of the situation. These weren't just advanced ships. They represented a fundamental shift in the balance of power. If humans could develop such technology in just 10 years, hidden from Coalition observation. What do you want? He asked finally. A new arrangement, Alina replied. Earth will no longer accept Category 3 status. We demand full membership in the Coalition with all associated rights and privileges. The Council would never. The Council will accept our terms, Alina interrupted, because we're not asking. Earth could destroy the Viridian Empire's dominance by simply sharing our technology with other species you've classified as primitive. How many of them would leap at the chance to challenge your authority? Xatrix knew she was right. If this technology spread, the carefully maintained power structure of the Coalition would collapse. There is another option, Alina continued, her tone softening slightly. Genuine partnership. Earth doesn't seek to dominate the Coalition as the Viridian Empire has. We want to contribute, to help advance all species. Your civilization has achieved remarkable things, but you've grown stagnant. We can help you remember how to innovate again. For the first time in his long career, Xatrix found himself considering compromise. The alternative was unthinkable, a galaxy-wide upheaval as Earth's technology upset millennia of established order. I will convey your position to the Council, he said finally. Alina nodded. We'll send a delegation to present our case formally. The Defiance will transport them. The message was clear. Earth would arrive in force, not as supplicants, but as equals. As Xatrix's vessel prepared to depart, he received one final message from Captain Reyes. When you report to your uncle, High Commander, remind him of what he said to us 10 years ago. We were primitive, remember? Perhaps it's time for the Viridian Empire to reconsider what that word really means. 3 months later, the Galactic Coalition chamber was filled beyond capacity. Representatives from every member species had come to witness the unprecedented event. Earth's elevation from Category 3 to full membership status in a single step. The Defiance hung in orbit above the Coalition capital world, a visible reminder of why this exception was being made. Scans of the vessel by the best Coalition scientists had revealed little. The phase shift technology remained a mystery that only humans fully understood. Ambassador Yusuf Hakim stood once again before the Coalition assembly. But this time, there was no dismissal, no condescension. When he spoke, every representative listened intently. 10 years ago, I stood here representing a young species eager to join the galactic community. We were judged primitive and confined to our system. Today, I stand before you representing a species that refused to accept artificial limitations. He gestured to the holographic display showing the Earth Defense Fleet. We could have used our technological breakthrough to dominate, to conquer. That would have been the Viridian way. Instead, we choose cooperation and mutual advancement. Lord Veridax himself had come to the chamber, a rare appearance that demonstrated the severity of the situation. The Coalition acknowledges Earth's unexpected development. We are prepared to grant full membership status with all associated privileges and responsibilities. Yusuf added, Earth commits to sharing certain aspects of our technology for peaceful purposes. Our scientists are eager to collaborate with their counterparts across the galaxy. The vote was unanimous. Earth became the first civilization in Coalition history to move directly from Category 3 to full membership. As Alina Reyes watched from the Defiance's bridge, She reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From humiliation to triumph in a single decade, a testament to human determination and creativity. "Captain," her communications officer called, "we're receiving hundreds of requests from coalition species seeking diplomatic relations with Earth." Elena smiled. "Tell them we'll be happy to meet with everyone." The galaxy just got a lot more interesting. Across the vast expanse of space, humanity had proven what they had always known: underestimate humans at your peril. Call them primitive if you must, but be prepared for their answer. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as humanity stepped onto the galactic stage, not as newcomers to be tolerated, but as innovators to be respected. The age of Viridian dominance was ending. The age of humanity had just begun.